Greetings and felicitations.
Okay, here comes the first round.
Boom. And
Jeez, that was just
boom.
unnecessary.
You kidding me? You can't be out of range? What?
Greetings and felicitations, YouTube. Jarl of the Appian Way here with patch notes. Patch notes, patch notes, patch notes. There's a lot that's going to be happening with the upcoming Mythos release and Troy release on Steam. There's a lot going on. I like how Apollo just like arrow flies over her shoulder. She's a queen. She doesn't even look. She's like, I got this. Alright, so she's going to live over here on the screen. I'm going to try and put some information on the other side of the screen, and I'm going to try talking to you all on the camera as I cover the patch notes for you. And brief little thoughts about what they might entail. The map, by the way, this is Field of Thanos. Field of Thanatos, a very popular multiplayer map, very symmetrical. We've got the Cerberus in the background, we've got shrines, we've got fallen colossi. It's a pretty cool looking map. Anyway, Truth Behind the Myth mode, upgrade, balance, patch here. Harpies in Truth Behind the Myth mode now have the serrated edges missile damage modifier, so their javelins were already causing fear, but it was unclear when they had their like if they had the ability serrated edges or not. It was a little weird. I think they just put in the icon for the symbol. They fixed an issue where Salamis Spearmen could not switch weapons. Hallelujah! I've been waiting for that one for a long time. Salamis Spearmen are now much more viable in multiplayer battles. Teucer's Bowmen now correctly use arrows as their ammo in battle. I guess they might have been like shooting sling bullets or something. I don't know. It must have looked funny for people who were paying close attention. I clearly wasn't. I had no idea. Strider now correctly provides immunity to all effects from tall grass and mud terrain, and the Amazons have never been happier as a result. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can actually move your units through terrain, all terrain types that have Strider with no movement penalties. I'm so happy for this. Trojan Noble Chariots now correctly show good battle speed instead of excellent battle speed. Infantry heroes now correctly do not have the horseback sharpshooting attribute. The archer heroes that are on foot don't tend to be able to shoot in 360 anyway, so I'm not even sure what was going on there. They fixed the discrepancy with the number of entities shown in the unit info panel and the real number of entities in the battle. I hadn't noticed any of those discrepancies. Battle abilities. A cooldown to the Apollo's aim ability has been added. Whatever. Red Mist and Ferocity. They fixed an issue where they had a target in the tooltip. And where the heal value stated in the tooltips of Pain Barrier and Heraclean Resolve were not working as intended. Sure, I guess those didn't seem majorly significant to me. Battle AI changes. The AI will deploy too close to the ruse battle, whatever. That's an Odysseus campaign thing. Battle AI will now harass only units that are not in melee. What does that mean? Okay. They fixed the bug in battles where after the loading screen, the start battle button would be unresponsive. Okay, sure. That all sounds like campaign AI mechanics. I'm not sure what this harassing units. Only units that are not in melee.
You have lost a unit.
Who's doing the harassing? I don't know. We'll see. In mythological units for Truth Behind the Myth mode, the Centaur champions have gotten a nerf. They've lost 5 armor and 5 morale, and they are now cost 1,200 instead of 1,080. Warriors of Artemis, this is cool. 4 more ammo, and they've gotten a range increase. I'm sorry, a range damage increase from 16 base and 12 armor piercing to 18 base and 13 armor piercing, and they're getting the serrated edges bonus that I had noticed in a couple of my previous battles. So Aristea. Okay. So the Warriors of Artemis, a lot more value, a lot more. They have a lot more potential now. They might actually work out with the serrated edges, meaning that their ammo also causes a fear debuff on top of them having stock Vanguard deployment and better damage. I think they could be okay. Cordovantes have been nerfed. They've lost 5 melee defense in their shield wall formation. They've lost 5 armor, bringing them down to just 10 armor. And they've lost 6 melee defense, down from 66 to 60. The Amazon Skittish Horses debuff has been decreased from 30% to 25%. That's okay. And all of the Amazon horses, almost all. I think the only ones I don't see in here are the horsewomen and the hippomacoi, but most of the Amazon cavalry that wasn't already being used a lot has had significant health increases. I'm just going to go over a couple highlights. Like the Furies, they've gone from 8,100 health to 10,200 health. Mwah. The Antonieri, 7,800 to 9,600. Toxonassus, 6,000 to 7,200. So a lot more health for all of those horsewomen. Thank goodness. Black Spears have been nerfed minorly. They're now their cost has been increased from 700 to 760. Brings them more in line with like the Labrys infantry cost from the Penthesilea roster. And Oathsworn, Oathsworn, they've got a morale buff up to 60 from 55 and are still a pointless unit. You won't ever see me playing them. Most ranged Amazon units have had their reload speed reduced. This includes reducing their damage as well to have their damage per 10 seconds remain the same. This is overall a damage decrease because they're not getting more ammo, right? They're actually just burning through their ammo faster and dealing less damage. So their impact in a battle is actually going to be a lot less. Even though their damage value over 10 seconds, which is what the damage rating you see in the unit card is going to stay the same, they're actually going to be doing less damage in battles in the long term. And a lot faster. Alright, does that make sense? I hope it does. Because they shoot faster and have had yeah, they shoot faster and they've had a damage value decrease. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Which means total possible damage down to here, and it's happening faster. Alright, so you're going to see them going through their worthfulness a lot quicker, and it's a pretty, I think it's actually a pretty significant nerf, after it was explained to me like that by Air Runner. Thank you for that. So there have been some changes for Salamis and Argos, general buffs all around. Ajax Companions, their javelins do more damage. They have a bonus, they have added 10 bonus versus Spearmen. They've gotten 35 more health per entity, bringing them from 11,700 to 14,100 health total, which is awesome. Ajax Wall and Companions mass has been slightly increased, which is great. Salamis Marines, which is the mid-tier exclusive swords unit, they've had a speed buff from 43 to 48, which is fantastic, and a slight increase in their cost. And their javelins also deal more damage now. Tusser's Bowmen have additional missile damage. It's gone. They've just added like two armor-piercing damage to them, and they've decreased their reload time by half a second. Paragon units. The cost of all Paragon units in Salamis's roster has been increased by 100, except for 3 instances. First of all, Farseeing Archelocos now costs 1250. We've been saying for a while that Archelocos needs to be at least 1100 to 1300, somewhere in that window. So this is a really good change for Farseeing Archelocos. Unwavering Glaukos is now cost 1440 instead of 1390, so they just increased it by 150. And Swift-footed Asiades, which is the heavy Centaur Champion Paragon unit, it's had its cost increase from 1080 to 1300, but keep in mind that the Centaur Champions were already increased to 1200, so they were just putting another 100 on top of that, like they were doing for the other Paragon units. Argive Swordsmen, which is Argos's medium swords unit. They've lost 15 points of armor, 45 down to 30, but they've gained 5 health per entity. I think that this is ultimately going to make them much squishier anyway. Their melee attack was increased by 2 points. They've been changed to a light infantry unit. That's interesting. And their speed has been increased to 48, and their charge has been increased to 12. That's very interesting. So they're much squishier, but they're faster, and they're going to move better in certain terrain types. That's very interesting. I'd be much more interested in using them in battles with heavy terrain, but I think ultimately it's a downside. I don't think it's a great improvement, because Argos is already kind of weak in the medium infantry department. Argive Axemen, They've added additional melee defense, more damage, more HP per entity, so they've been buffed all around, which is great. Nobody was using them. Argive Raiders, they've lost 5 points of armor. I'm not sure why that was necessary. They already weren't being used. And then Heroic Axe Runners, more melee attack and more charge, making them just a little bit more viable. And this is the big one. I've been talking about this one for a while. I'm very excited about it. Warriors of Ithaca, Elite, capped at 4. Renowned Kopesh Fighters, they're now Elite as well, capped at 4. Bows of Mycenae, Elite, capped at 3. And Exemplary Trojan Slingers from Paris, Elite, and capped to 3. That was about where I was playing all of those units anyway. I would not do more than that for any of them. Bows of Mycenae, though, not so sure of their value. I like them. I've liked them, but they're not great. you could just do better by picking cheaper archers there. And honestly, the Exemplary Trojan Slingers, I love this unit. I would never bring more than 3 anyway. There's been increases to javelin damage. Damage increased by 10% for all javelins distributed between normal and AP. So infantry is going to be even more king, is what that tells me. On top of this, we're getting increased range damage of all javelin chariots by 25%, distributed between normal and AP, making them just a little bit more valuable, especially since they couldn't do any melee anyway ever since the last update. Changes to elite units that reinforce the faction's playstyle. So Trojan Princes from Paris's roster, 20 more entity count, 150 more funds, and a slight damage decrease. Maybe they're a little bit more... The slight damage decrease is not going to offset their increase in entities, so they're actually going to be dealing more damage. Trojan Nobles, also from the Paris roster, their damage has actually been tweaked down by like 2 points. No big deal.
No problem.
Lycian Winged Chariots from Sarpedon's army, they've gotten the extra javelin damage. Pelagic Thessalians from Phthia, they are now speed 50, making them a little bit more viable. I'm not sure that they're playable quite yet in multiplayer. OGC's Midnight Runners, their speed is now bumped up to 50, and their melee attacks are bumped up to 53. They could be good, but I just really rather enjoy using those Warriors of Ithaca anyway. Agamemnon's Companions, Mycenae, more melee attack and more damage, or less damage, actually. Less damage, more armor piercing. They took away 4 regular and added 4 armor piercing, so they're going to actually be more impactful. And it looks like that's the same case with Agamemnon's Guards. Actually, Agamemnon's Guards, they've lost 3 points of armor piercing, gained 5 points of normal damage. So the Companions are more the armor piercing than the Guards are. But the Guards also got a bonus versus large buff from 15 to 20. Light Javelin Men from Mycenae increased their speed to 50, which is awesome. A very, very speedy unit now. And that's good for a ranged unit. They've tended to not have really good speed. Let's see here. What else we got? Myrmidon Swordsmen. Their bonus versus Spearmen has been increased from 5 to 15, making them even more phenomenal than they already are. Renowned Phthian Spears, Spearfighting Myrmidons, Champions of Troy, and Armored Spearmen. They all have had their bonus versus Swords and Axes reduced by 4 points down to 10, and they've all had their weapon switching speed buff reduced by, it looks like, reduced down to 10%. So they had like a speedy swap, but apparently that's now just a little bit slower. I think. I'm not sure. So reduction in certain very heavy unit speeds. So heavy infantry, right? We're talking about heavy infantry here. All heavy spear and shield units have had their speed lowered to 25. All heavy non-spear and shield units remain with 28 speed. Armored swordsmen reduced their speed from 37 to 33. Champions of Phthia, same thing. And heavy shock units remain with 37 speed. Right, as I just said, heavy shock units remain with 37 speed, but their charge speed for these units has been reduced accordingly to be more in line with the normal running speed. So they're not going to be lightning quick in the final charge animation. Hero changes. But Thessalia gets Song of Battle melee attack instead of base ability. So there's that Song of Battle melee attack. Means that she's also getting an additional 30 melee attack, but I still don't recommend this ability. That 1 second reduction in attack interval actually doesn't mean that she's attacking more, because there's still attack animations and staggers influencing that. And Embrace of Ares is the charge ability instead of just the base version, so she's getting a little more extra charge speed out of that as well. Pretty cool. I use this ability. Why the heck not? Ajax. He's gotten a buff in his melee defense from 58 to 60, and his cost has been reduced to 1680 from 1720. What else we got here? Oh, and his HP. He's now 8200 base HP. I really don't know if there's anybody who has more than 8200. 7820 was already pretty high, but like ain't nobody got that kind of health. ain't nobody got that kind of health. I mean, maybe Aeneas might come close. Let's find out. Aeneas is 6800. That's cool. That's cool. How about Hector? Hector's a beefy boy, right? Oh, that was with a chariot. 7000. Nobody's as beefy as that Ajax great dude. 8220 health. All right. There's been some ability stat changes in some of these hero abilities. None left standing has been increased by 10 seconds, but the cooldown has been added to it. Song of Battle, 10-second duration increase, as well as an AP damage increase. Embrace of Ares, 10-second increase. Pulverize, the charge bonus has been decreased, and they've reduced the duration on that one. Zeus's Wrath, one of my favorites, 30-second reduction on that ability. Blood Sacrifice was a cool one, but they've decreased the damage bonus but added armor piercing, trying to make it more niche, more specific. And I think it's still a very, very good ability. And then Threads of Fate, the melee attack buff has been reduced from 50 down to just 35. And last but not least, everybody's favorite unit to hate on, the Bowmen. They've had their reload time decreased by 15%. Oh, yay. And their missile damage and missile armor piercing damage increased by 20%, meaning they now have 12 damage and 6 armor piercing with a reload time of 9.8 seconds. And this is something else I didn't know, but apparently they had an animation triggering when they were in melee mode where they would like display splash damage, but it wasn't actually splash damage, so they took that out. They fixed that unit. They fixed the issue where unit entities might sometimes get stuck between the front two horses of a chariot. One of my favorite things, I have clips of this on my channel somewhere, of it's like you lashed Menelaus between the two horses of your chariot and you push him off the battlefield. They also fixed the bug where units with Forest Fighter were not affected by the mud terrain type, which they should have been. And they reassigned horse models in Amazon unit rosters so that higher tier units have better looking horses. There you go. That's all. There's a UI change where hero portraits and unit icons are now separate options in the overlays menu, and both can be toggled on or off. That's in battles where you hold down the space bar and it gives you that list of overlays. You can see how much of that unit you really want to see. Heavy javelin throwers are now correctly listed as a heavy weight class unit. I'm hoping that means that they actually have heavy mass. Let's find out. This is something that I pointed out to them. So, heavy javelin throwers, weight class heavy. They have the hexagon banner. Let's just bring a bunch of them here. And let's see how they behave in terrain. We're going to go to the Mudlins. Mudlins, take me to the Mudlands. We'll see if they actually fixed this or not. Because the way they described it wasn't necessarily the issue. It wasn't a problem that they weren't displayed right. It was a problem that they were oddly a medium unit in some way, shape, or form. It says in here, yeah, it does say heavy. Yeah, the problem was as I recall, the problem was right here. It just said that they were medium. We're going to start this battle. We're going to see how it moves in the mud. Speed is 21. So it's lost 9 points of speed in the mud. It should lose 30% for being a heavy unit. Let's see here. Yeah, it should be down to 70%. 70% of 30. Oh god, I have to math. Yeah, 9. That's exactly right. So yeah, they're treating the mud like a heavy unit should. Perfect. Perfect. Very good. And then I displayed this the other day in my stream, but I just want to go ahead and give you the option to see it now. Persist in battle mode has been added to photo mode, right? So let's say I wanted to do an entire battle in, oh, we'll say Golden Dusk. Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, we'll do Golden Dusk, and let's add a filter of teal and orange. Nah, it doesn't actually look as good. How about North? Perfect. I love the look of that. You really get to see the goopiness of the mud here. And then I click Persist in Battle. Boom. We're good to go. And all of that coloring effect stays. All of that stays. Lovely. Lovely. You get, let's get real up close in here and take a look at these troops. Look at this. Fan-freaking-tastic. You gotta love that. You have to love that. That looks so good. Anyway, lengthy video, but those are the patch notes. I hope you found this all very interesting. I certainly do. I'm really looking forward to the meta shift when Truth Behind the Myth mode comes out in a couple of days, and I'm looking forward to the new metas that we can expect in historical mode, mythos mode. It's all coming together. I'll be here with you for it in that journey. Ta-ta, I love you all. I'll see you guys in the next video. If you want to support the channel, please check out my Ko-Fi link. You'll see it in the end card. All right? That's it. Ta-ta, I love you all. Have a good one.